This is Gene Krebs.
Hi there. Oh. Whoop. Whoosh.
And we're high on Ohio.
Much of my work in the past has focused on marriage and health, so the average benefits of marriage for individuals' mental and physical health. And it appears that there are benefits of marriage for mental and physical health. We know that marriage is good for people on average. It's good for children. And we know that non-marital fertility is on the rise and is also correlated with poverty. And so if we can, I mean, the sort of overly simplistic view is that if we can encourage low-income single mothers to marry, then maybe this will solve some of the problems.
That will cure poverty.
That will be a cure for poverty. And so, so I started seeing my own research showing up in support of some of these policies, saying, look, marriage is a good thing, and it really made me think, well, perhaps single mothers will benefit from marriage and their children to the same extent that the average person does, but that's really an empirical question that we haven't looked at. No one had really looked at that, and there were a lot of reasons to think that single mothers would not benefit from marriage in the same way that the average person does. What I found is that among children who were born to single mothers, if their mother subsequently marries, that really does not have many benefits for
no impact then
for their for their health and well-being, or for the health and well-being of women, the single mothers themselves. In many low-income, particularly African-American low-income communities, there is a shortage of men to marry.
Why?
Mass incarceration. African-American men have higher mortality rates, so they are more likely to die at a younger age. And so if you look at the sex ratios in some low-income communities, they are very skewed. My inclination is that greater economic opportunities for low-income men and women likely would have some positive impact on marriage rates. And I think part of the issue is that this has really become a cultural and political battleground, these issues surrounding the family. Really pitting, I think, one view which believes that what we have is a culture problem, that low-income single mothers and their potential partners simply don't value marriage.
Okay.
And the empirical research does not support that conclusion. Researchers who have studied low-income single mothers have found that they place a high value and desire and really revere marriage in a lot of ways. But they're also very aware in really a very pragmatic kind of way of the challenges of bringing in another person to their household. And this is, if you're a mother, economically disadvantaged, raising a child, bringing in another potentially economically disadvantaged person into that household can potentially have negative consequences both for you and your child. We have a lot of evidence in now that these marriage promotion programs have really failed spectacularly. There have been some very well-designed, randomized interventions where some people receive the relationship skills training and others don't, and they've had, to the extent that they've had any positive benefits, they've been very small, and some have even have had negative consequences.
Really?
Also very small. So, my assessment is that they probably have no impact. A lot of non-marital childbearing now occurs in cohabiting unions. So if one was able to have a cohabiting partner, a man who was able to continue to work and still take care of the child, that might have positive effects for later transitioning into marriage, that it does have policy implications. We are continuing to spend money on these marriage promotion programs. Now, it's not a lot of money in the scope of the overall budget. However, I think there's sort of an ideological issue here too, is that we are continuing to spend money on programs that are ineffective. And there's I think, an underpinning of these marriage promotion policies, which again suggests that the problem is a cultural problem. Most people who receive welfare benefits do so for a very short period of time. People don't stay don't stay in poverty long term. It tends to be something that people move in and out of. I have seen some evidence, some evaluation of programs that people have kind of pointed to as an alternative to some of these healthy marriage initiatives, which are focused on high school students. and maybe this is what you're talking about, and have a component of job training and encouraging students to go to college and things like this. And the evaluations of those types of programs that I've looked at have shown some success. And interestingly, they've also shown higher rates of marriage among the groups who participated in these programs that are really designed to further economic mobility. Non-marital fertility has grown very rapidly. It's grown about 46% in the past 20 years.
Pardon? Can you say that again?
46% increase in rates of non-marital fertility in the past 20 years. I just pulled up the numbers for Ohio, and I believe it's grown even more rapidly. And so in the U.S. as a whole, 41% of all births are now non-marital.
Okay.
In Ohio, I believe it's 46%.
Okay.
So it's, quickly becoming a dominant pathway to family formation. A good start is to focus on reducing rates of unintended fertility. Most non-marital fertility is unintended, so these are not...
Sex education.
Right, sex education, Planned Parenthood, many programs that are currently, under attack nationally. I think, scaling back on those is probably the wrong way to go. But I would like to see child poverty completely eliminated.
Okay.
Someone else is going to have to, whether that be direct transfers, because I think in all of these issues we have to take a long-term view. If we want to reduce rates of non-marital fertility, if we want to reduce rates of poverty in the future, that requires, all of these things start influencing people at a very young age.
For more about the Center for Community Solutions or their publications, please visit www.communitysolutions.com.